I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick from Up with KREM. A very powerful fall and winter storm system is going to hit the Pacific Northwest for this upcoming Friday, November 4th. And it's going to have a multifaceted impact for the region with snow, rain, and high winds all expected, especially for the Spokane area. And it's going to come in that order: snow, slushy snow first. Then it's going to melt with the rainfall that comes by the midday hours on Friday, and then the winds really start to crank up later on that evening. That's at a glance. The weather setup for this is an atmospheric river. We can see that in the cloud cover on Doppler radar already, and it's going to be pointed right at Washington more directly throughout the course of this Thursday, and especially for this upcoming Friday. You take an even bigger picture of it, and it's this moisture drawn from the tropics that is going to make its way all the way into the Pacific Northwest. Atmospheric rivers are common in the spring and fall time for our region, and they are typically fairly mild weather systems. But since our temperatures are as cold as they are from today, we start out with snow first, and then the warmer weather will take hold, which is why we're expecting more in the way of rain and melting snow later on. But the snow comes first and will be the most noticeable impact of this before the winds come into play later on in the evening. 1 to 2 inches of that wet and slushy snowfall likely to fall across the inland Northwest before it melts right away, with 6 to 10 inches of snow for our area mountains. And it's our mountains and mountain passes that are going to be getting hit by that snow heaviest. It starts over the Cascades later on today, Thursday afternoon and evening, but even transitions over to rain for Snoqualmie Pass by Friday. Meanwhile, Lookout Pass will see snow throughout the day on Friday, making for a very treacherous trip over those mountain passes. Winter storm watches as of Thursday morning are in effect for these regions, likely going to be upgraded to winter storm warnings later on today. So make sure to stay tuned or follow any of our Storm Tracker 2 team, including myself, on Twitter for the latest updates, whether we get winter weather advisories or winter storm warnings later on today. But heavy mountain snow, that is for sure. But for the Spokane area and our lower elevations, it's a 1, 2, 3 punch of snow first, then rain, then high winds. And I'll admit, it's the winds that are going to be the most impactful for our region, because those winds up to 50 or even 55 miles per hour are the most likely to do damage. Tree damage or power outages will be the big concern with the storm system. Yeah, the first snowfall of the season is certainly noteworthy and makes for great water cooler talk, but the snow melts by the afternoon hours on what is going to be a mild Friday for us. So let's go hour by hour and show you how this storm system develops across the region. 11 p.m. already starting to see snow for tonight, Thursday night. And look at how widespread it is through Friday morning. So we are kicking off Friday morning with a very slushy scene for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and certainly for North Idaho and the Palouse. So this is going to make things a little bit slippery for those roadways, but our temperatures are about 35 degrees. So it's a 35-degree snowfall that's going to make for a very messy, almost a very slushy and sloppy scene. And then it's going to start melting very quickly. By noon, the snow transitions over to rain. So it's raining on top of that snow, melting it away on a 50-degree day. And by the evening hours, yeah, the rain is moving out of the region, but this is the point where those winds are at their strongest. So Friday night is the most likely time frame for any kind of power outages to happen across the region. So you saw the snowfall of about 1 to 2 inches. The rain could be about a ½ an inch to a full inch of rain. Think of an inch of rain on top of an inch of snow. That is why conditions are going to be so wet and so messy across the inland Northwest. Meanwhile, about 1 to 3 inches of rain expected for western Washington out of this same storm system. But to reiterate, it's the winds that are going to be the most problematic for our region, especially by the evening hours. You see these red shades on the map? Those are those 50, possibly even 55 mile per hour winds for Friday night, and they even last into part of the day on Saturday. This is the point in the day where those power outages or possible tree damage, especially with the leaves still on a lot of those trees, are most likely. So the snow is probably going to be more annoying, going to make for a slow morning commute, but it's the evenings when we're most likely to see power outages in our region. So to recap, it's almost 3-day parts, a 1-2-3 punch. We start the day out with snowfall through the morning hours, transitioning over to rain by the noon hour on Friday, and then even though the rain may depart by the evening, that's when those winds are going to be at their strongest. Snow, then rain, then wind. As always, you can always follow any of the Storm Tracker 2 team members, myself, Thomas Patrick, or Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo on Twitter for the latest updates on this developing storm system for the Pacific Northwest.